I like that.
Thank you for coming in from your yard work to enjoy a happy hour with me.
Yes.
And our listener.
I was drinking a beer and talking to the construction worker who tore out the middle lane of our 3-lane road in front of our house with a machine that was so big and so brutal that I had things falling off the second-story shelves as he banged and broke the concrete and dug it up.
Like a dinosaur walking down the street. Like boom, boom, boom.
Imagine this, that they cut the space where they pulled out the blacktop. They cut the space with this giant saw that was 4.5, 5 foot tall on wheels that a man pushed without an OSHA recommended mask on, I might add, and pushed it up, and he cut the concrete and asphalt down all the way to the dirt. With those lines cut, a mammoth machine with tractor wheels, track wheels on it like a tank, fits exactly in there. Well, it's so close that when he's going backwards with his giant claw and he's banging and he's digging up the concrete between the 2 4-foot deep cuts, bam, bam, rip it up, truck full, another truck behind him, going up the street. 180 feet of this a day, pulling it up, digging it down 20 feet, laying in new 3-foot, 4-foot black sewage pipe.
20 feet
deep. Hooks the sewage pipe together, and then trucks come, big, huge dump trucks come full of special dirt and sand, and they have a bulldozer that also is small enough to fit within that gap and buries it back up and then fills it full of stone and dirt so you can cross over it. There's a hole, then there's a crossover and a hole. They're doing 180 feet of this a day. That huge machine that is clawing and digging up that stuff, roll, boosh, it fits so tight in that area that the giant tractions squeak up against the asphalt and the concrete to a pitch that is so loud it's like you've listened to a fucking crazy. I don't know if you've heard an airplane take off probably and close enough to make your ears hurt. The only thing louder than that is a pig screeching, which will pierce your eardrums. I know. I carried a pig squealing that loud, 85, 100-pound pig, into an arena to sell it. And that pig was screaming so loud that it might as well have pierced my eardrums. It was an unhappy moment. But back to the story of the squealing.
I want to go back to the pig. Yes.
That is what. So the boom, 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 and then squeaking, and then boom, boom, and then just cleaning it up, finishing it up, walking up. So I was having a beer out there, talking to the dude that drives the thing.
Yeah.
Who we talked throughout the day. I'm out there with my coffee. How you doing? You know, and it's good. You know,
I'm sure they like having men in their bathrobes out there.
No, I wouldn't in my bathrobe. I'm dressed. I'm in my slippers, but I am dressed. Yeah. And this dude who drives this remarkable bulldozer, that the front of the bulldozer swerves in front of the seat where he sits on the main train. That's a 4-wheel train, and so with the wheels that turn, he can make that bulldozer do a 90-degree turn. And he scoops up dirt. It's enormous. It's the top of this thing is 35 feet tall. It's 70 feet long. It has a bucket that you could lift a car up with. And he's on this little stretch of road in the 3rd lane of my 3-lane, and he is scraping shit dirt up, putting it in the hole so the bulldozer can plow it. He's going so fast. He's like got it opened up, and he is scraping the last remnants of the dirt and sand off the good lane where he's been working before he moves on. And when he leaves to go backwards up that lane, which is all blocked off, obviously, he opens it up. He's doing 20, 25 miles an hour on this thing. And this is all happening directly in front of my house. So while they're out there, I'm adding stone to my stone fence. And so there's camaraderie. We're both wearing work boots and gloves. And I'm working harder than most of them are. But what a skill set. What an amazing skill set.
Yeah, like muting your phone for a fucking podcast. What a skill set. So that's got to be, you got to be really in the zone and concentrated, I would imagine, to be moving such heavy machinery around that quickly and that accurately. Like,
he shows
so much focus.
And this dude is wired tight. He's a Mexican dude, Spanish speaking anyway. Little short, wiry dude, big work boots, long hair, and I'm watching him, and I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe he's right in front of me.
Right.
This is 20 feet away. This is happening. Like panoramic. I mean, it was like, God, I hope it doesn't tip over. I mean,
I was gonna say 20 feet away, he could reach over and like scratch your nose if you asked him to.
Maybe 40 feet, more like 40, 50 feet, actually. I'm exaggerating. But anyway, he saw me watching him, and he like raised his eyebrows up and down like, pretty cool, huh? But anyway, he shows up this morning while I'm out there talking to the dude who's working the steam shovel, the huge screeching steam shovel. A huge dude, huge guy. And this guy jumps out of this beast that he drove up the two prong, I don't know, the rotating giant bulldozer. And he says, I don't know what the fuck they want me to fucking do today. They want me to be fucking here. They want me to be fucking there. I wish they'd just make up their fucking mind. And he kicks the dirt and he jumps back up in his fucking rig and he in reverse and just steams off. And that's quiet.
That sounds like a job to me.
Steam shovel guy hasn't got in and has cranked up his machine yet. So it's quiet for a second. And I looked at him and I said, he sounds like he's a little fucking pissed off. And he thought that was pretty funny. And oh God. So anyway, that was so that's going on out there. It's really cool to see the engineering and, when the supervisors show up and what the goals are. They have, 180 feet average a day.
And they're doing something that like without the machines, if you just had dudes with shovels, that would take you a week to go 5 feet. Yeah, a year to go. Yeah.
So imagine this. So not too long ago, they dug a similar trench, a hole actually, and kind of a more of a hole than a trench, but a rectangular trench. They went down about 15 feet, right? Used machinery to dig it out, and they have a machine that when the backhoe can't get much more out or churns it all up, they have two machines. They have one machine that is this giant wand that's very light, must be aluminum. It's about 6 feet long, and out of the front of it pours an enormous amount of water. And the man who runs that wand, which is strapped to him like a harness, so he can work it kind of one hand, there is a vacuum that is 8-inch diameter hose that also has a handle. And when you take that vacuum and put it in the dirt where the man is pouring the water, it sucks up the water and the dirt and creates a hole in seconds.
Wow.
There's no digging. It's turning it into oatmeal and sucking it out and putting it in the back of a truck. And when the truck's full, it goes. One man making the hole. And so they stopped when they found a pipe running horizontal to my house, which was my water line. And they were doing this everywhere, and they were replacing the water lines, which some were steel and therefore dangerous, with copper. When they dug the hole and they found the pipe, I said, well, so what are you going to do to pull that pipe out? Are you going to dig up my yard and lift it out? He said, oh, no.
Watch this.
I said, well, are you going to dig a trench behind you and pull it out and cut it? He said, no. And then he wheeled over a machine that was 12
Did it like roll it into a spool? Did it bend it into a
Yes.
Wow.
A huge machine hooked to it and rolled into a spool, which you then drove up the street and unhooked for a jitney to come by, lift it up, put it in a truck with 8 others and carry it away. And it took 2 men.
Wow.
And then the pipe that went in, copper, I think went in much.
You can't do that in reverse. Like you could pull out you can unspool a thing and have it turn out straight and go through a straight hole.
Well, I believe that I'm right about this. That yes, with copper, it may have to be a certain temperature for it to be able to, which I'm sure would be an engineering requirement.
Yes.
A heated copper pool that you had to use gloves. I don't know. I'm conjecturing. But
our engineering,
the whole point.
Our engineering listeners can write in and tell us what the temperature of copper pipe should be for unspooling
or spooling. Same.
I mean,
spooling unless you want.
We should have, before the story started, we should have given a Spooler Alert, because I, for one, didn't know that was coming.
First point of cleverness for the show. That's great. I love these moments. Although your timing is pretty impeccable. Here's a story for you. I got a list of stuff I got to do every day, and I'm kind of doing this, doing that. I got to fit an hour and a half nap in there somewhere where I lay around and read and fall asleep a little while, little siesta. And I got to go to the cleaners. And so I've had stuff in my...
Did you go to the dry cleaner? Oh, tell me about this.
So I go and I get out. I'm wearing an N95 mask, and I'm all prepped, and I go in, and the man who's about 6'2", maybe a little heavyweight, dark curly hair, no facial hair, khakis, a little overweight maybe, and he's on the phone. He doesn't have a mask on, so I go within about 10 feet and stay there. And of course, I have to we're the only two people in the store. I have to overhear what he's saying, and I hear him say, I know that, but there's nothing that I can do about it. What you're saying happened to your pants, just didn't happen. That didn't happen. And there's nothing that I can do. This is above my pay grade. And no, I'm not going to send you to a manager, because a manager is just going to tell you what I'm doing. We're not going to replace your $900 pair of pants. And I'm sorry. I know. And he starts to look at me with a look that he's getting pissed. And at first he looks at me without looking pissed. First thing he looks at me and he says, sorry, I'll get right. Mm-hmm. So take a minute, and I'm fine. I'm like, thumbs up. I got nowhere to go. And then having made contact with me, as it goes on, and his color's rising a little bit, he's kind of looking at me and looking like he's pissed. And then he says, listen, we did not turn your black pants gray. You brought them in black. You got them back black. It didn't happen. This conversation, it didn't happen. It just, and then, yes, I know, it didn't happen. So I'm thinking, he seems to be under control. But then the conversation's over, and he slams the phone down like he's fucking Michael Jordan doing a fucking slam jam. I thought he was going to break the old style phone. And he backs up about 10 feet and yells like really loud, just like, oh, God damn it. I knew it when they called me, and I was nice to them, and I let them take their pants. And he's just out of it.
Right.
I back up a little bit. He calls.
I might come back tomorrow.
Puts his mask on. But it's just, and I said, well, you know what they say? No good deed goes unpunished. He says, all right, what do you got? We do our transaction. It was when he slammed that phone down, I've got to admit to being startled. So the expression, I was back on my heels, was actually true. I stumbled a bit backwards, and I knew that the potential shouting, which could produce 20 feet of spores, I was thankful that for whatever reason, unlike I don't always do, I had my N95 mask, mm-hmm. which I don't always. Sometimes I wear a scarf, a good scarf, mm-hmm. but nonetheless, not an N95. So there I was, and it was like,
that's the thing.
I didn't touch the thing. I left the stuff. Nothing.
With mobile phones now, with our smartphones, you don't get that ability to slam it down like we used to have with the old phones. It's like you're angry and you're like tapping at the screen to tap to turn off hang up the call. You can throw it. Yeah, I bet you could skip one pretty far.
Huh?
I bet you could skip one pretty far on a lake. They're sort of flat.
Skip what?
A smartphone.
Oh, I lost the train of thought there for a moment.
I bet you could.
My eyes tilted back in my head. I don't know why. Yeah,
back on your mental heels.
Yeah, well, you'd hold like in the corner.
Yeah,
and wing it with my wrist.
That's what I would think.
The bigger ones would be better.
Yeah, but you don't.
I've tried that in a toilet bowl a couple of times, and it didn't work out.
You don't want an iPad.
Drop something in the toilet. You want to do it, after you've defecated and flushed the toilet, not getting up from defecation. Then you're faced with a pretty shitty dilemma.
Yeah, that's a touchscreen you don't want to touch because it's got the poop emoji all over it.
Got a shitty attitude. It's your fucking problem. Plus, you get shit for brains.
You're clever.
So I told you this story before of growing up when we used to stand around drinking our quart bottles of beer in a circle.
Insulting each other?
Yep. Guys insulting each other.
Yes. That's on the record.
Yeah, it is. And that, God,
that's going to be
pitching quarters.
Oh, remind me what pitching quarters is?
You're up against a brick building that has a concrete walkway around it. Uh-huh. So it's a really nice, clean, solid corner of all brick and concrete material. And you stand a certain number of feet away and you pitch a quarter from that distance. And the quarter, which is closest to the wall, scoops up all the other quarters. And if there's a tie, everybody does it again. So if you got 6 guys against the wall of a school building, pitching quarters, or 8 guys. I mean, it's a couple of bucks.
Like a good way to spend an afternoon.
Yeah, well, at night we'd go and drink and pitch quarters, and if you left the circle, talking the eights, I think it's called in some. We never called it that, but I've read something about calling it the eights. Not sure what that means anymore. Maybe I made it up. Maybe I dreamt it.
Yeah, are you familiar with the thing that the young people are doing now with flipping water bottles?
No.
You take a plastic water bottle that's half or a little bit less full of water, and the idea is you have to flip it up so that it flips in the air and then lands and stays standing up.
Wow.
And it's one of these things that is difficult enough that you're not gonna that it's hard, but easy enough that every 30th time you are able to achieve it, and it has that frequency of reward that makes it sort of an addictive hobby. And then some people practice it more than others, and then they can seem to do it more often, and et cetera, et cetera. So
and then they'll take it on the road, and it'll be part of their act. Jugglers, for example, would be good at that.
You would think, yeah. It's a matter of, I mean, like
how many turns,
like golf or horseshoes or anything. It's a matter of
requirement.
It's a matter of
only one turn,
the muscle memory, and knowing how to in the angle it needs to be to most likely stay standing up or whatever. But it's one of these harmless. Turns? It's one of these harmless activities that it's kids playing with trash, basically. Like
is there a minimum number of turns?
I don't know if there are even rules. It's a thing you can do by yourself if you're bored, or it's a thing that I guess you can take turns doing.
But film everyone in case you do it.
Oh yeah, of course. So there are of course all these videos online of people doing. The craziest ones are people bouncing ping pong balls. Like you set up like a frying pan and another pot, and you bounce it off of one and then the other, and then into a cup. And
I've seen that.
Yeah, so that's a common enough thing, and that's a thing where you film yourself for 5 hours doing it, and you get one, and then you like cut it down to that 10 seconds, and you're like, oh, look how cool I am, I can do this. There's
this crazy gross team mascot that comes out of a city, and I'm drawing a blank on which one, but it's made a lot of news because it came out and people wrote about it and said, what the fuck? It was like called Grotsky, or I don't, maybe it's a hockey team mascot. You'll probably remember it. It went viral.
Yeah.
But he does that ping pong ball thing, and it's astounding what he does. I saw it.
Like if you can do it in front of a crowd like on command, that's pretty impressive.
Well, we don't know. That wasn't so much the case. This was a video, so no. It was a COVID-19.
Yeah, that sounds like a thing you saw in John Oliver. That sounds like the sort of thing that he would.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, that's my guess.
I think so.
I caught up to a huge cultural phenomenon this past week. I saw the movie that they put out of Hamilton, the musical.
Oh, wow.
Have you seen Hamilton?
No, but I know a lot about it.
Right. It's been super famous for like 5 years, and everyone that sees it is just madly in love with it, and like so few people hate it. And like I heard about it, and I listened to the soundtrack once, and was like, I don't really get it. This is weird. The whole idea of rapping about the founding fathers to me was like, yeah, okay, whatever.
What?
And like, yeah, great. I'm progressive. I love that the founding fathers are played by black people. That's kind of edgy, interesting. But then this past week, I got the movie because it was released on Disney. Disney released it, of the original cast. It was like recorded 4 years ago or whatever, when they were still doing it on Broadway. But
it wasn't a live broadcast of a Broadway show. It was a movie.
No. It was a recording of an actual broadcast of an actual Broadway performance. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But it was in all the same ways that watching sports on TV is better than watching it when you're there, like because they can zoom in on the people's faces and cut when you need to change.
Right.
Like in a play, you have to know where to look to see what Normally they're pretty good about making it obvious where you need to look in a play, but here it was a well produced recording of a play.
Oh, good.
And I have to say, holy fuck. Within 5 minutes, I was like, okay, I get it. This is why everyone is so obsessed with this. This is fucking amazing. Great. It's just
so the quality of these recorded events. Scorsese is brilliant with the stuff that he produces. He's done Rolling Stones stuff. I think he did The Band, etc. It's that quality of
it's very high quality. It's it's better than if you had been there on Broadway in the front fucking seat. Like, it's better than that.
Yeah.
And
I got to get my access shit worked out here in this house.
It was just crazy mind blowing. Like I pressed play, like I waited for my kids to go to bed and I pressed play at like 11:45 at night. And I realized that I had to sit there and watch the whole thing. That was like 2 hours and 45 minutes. So I went to bed at 2:30 in the morning because
done that
because I needed to finish the whole thing. And like that was a week ago and I can't stop thinking about it. Like the songs are in my head. It's just that amazing of a creation. Just,
yeah.
So
yeah, I can't wait.
Anyway, so I was always quite dubious about, man, these Hamilton people, they really like this thing. They won't shut up about it.
Did we speak about? You sent me a montage Zoom that Hamilton players did.
Yes, that was
celebrate.
Yeah, that was.
We talked about that.
That was the thing that John Krasinski has his good. This is the good news that he started during the pandemic, and they called up this little girl who loves Hamilton, and all of the stars were there on the call, but amazing. But like I didn't recognize any of the stars. Like I know who Lin-Manuel Miranda is, but the rest of them I didn't really know. But now I sure do.
Was it one of the players in that recently died of COVID?
No, there was a young Broadway person that died.
But it wasn't this. It wasn't Hamilton.
It wasn't Hamilton. No, just other Broadway.
Well, sorry for his loss.
Yeah, well, it is 2020. It's an interesting, like, there's so much material now because it's a 5-year-old cultural phenomenon. Like, there are so many words written and videos produced about Hamilton that, as a late coming fan, I can go and consume.
Right.
But I've tried not to because that's just a deep hole.
Which now you're more able to appreciate what the fuck they're talking about.
Right. Exactly.
Right. I mean, exactly.
But it's a thing. Like I wish I could share it with my family, but I don't think they would get it. I don't think because.
Well, that's not for you to decide.
But it's a matter of the speed of the English delivered. That.
Oh.
I think both my kids and my wife would have trouble following along, and also it's about history that they don't necessarily know.
Spanish. Their native language is Spanish, right?
Right, and so like my wife doesn't know who Aaron Burr is or who George Washington. Like she knows he was a president, but she doesn't know anything more about it because we don't. You don't study other things. So eventually I'm going to show it to them, but at first it might be a little off-putting. And like so, one thing I didn't realize is there is no speaking. It's
an entire musical.
It is every single syllable happens on every night of the show at the exact same moment, which is another thing that blew my mind, is that they are saying every syllable with the score, with the music at the exact moment every single night. It's just perfectly timed, which like if there's some dialogue or something in a play, like maybe somebody misses a beat or or something could change and you can recover from it because, there's a little bit of improv going on, but there's no improv in Hamilton. It is 100%. Every single syllable it has to happen at the moment that it has to, which is just crazy.
That sparked a memory of, I recently rewatched for probably the third time the post-death Michael Jackson documentary of his development for the show that he never got to do because he died, and was struck by that exact thing. Every moment spoken for, every nuance addressed. And what's fascinating about that documentary is that it explores that because there's footage of Michael Jackson's interaction with musicians and with the producer and with the whole cast, which is always like when the whole cast is there, it's almost like a religious event. I mean, it's like, but when he is 1-on-2 or 1-on-3 with his musicians and talking to them about what he wants, and they are absolutely committed to giving him exactly what he wants, and they try it until he looks at them and he says, "That's it, do that."
Wow.
And so it's that you've got to imagine in something like Hamilton, which I haven't seen obviously, but still, it's that kind of a thing that you're describing, where the person that is the director of that has to have a skill set that, and particularly the ability to delegate, but to lead and to delegate, in all manners of every part of the human being, because it's not just the voice and the sound and the vision and all that. It's also the emotion and the interaction of those emotions among the cast in two ways, both during the production, which is an absolute dedication, but also what happens off in interactions with people that might affect what's happening on stage. And it's grueling. But what an effort.
Exactly.
Of collaborative agreement. Could anything be more collaborative? Right?
Amen.
In the truest sense, with leadership. Collaboration requires leadership. That's what's often missing. Everybody gets together. Nobody knows whose meeting it is. It doesn't work. It's not collaboration.
Exactly.
You got to have some fucking formality to it. Roles, responsibilities.
Amen. And not many people know this, but every single beat of this podcast has been scripted beforehand, and luckily I'm here to lead Dennis in. Sometimes he gets it wrong, and we have to do like 7 takes.
Did you find did you edit the last episode yet? Did you find my closing reference?
I have not made it to that because I had my computer woes, which I think were in the last episode.
Leave that for another time.
But yeah, so it's tough to nail all of these points that we set up in advance, and
to hit them. Yes, like automatopoeia in some circumstances.
Like
to poop. It's automatopoeia.
That's
to poop.
We've gone over this.
Automatopoetic.
That's not what that word means.
To poop. The word sounds like what it means.
Okay, so poop is the word you're going for? That's the way it sounds when you poop?
That's automatopoetic. Put it up on the screen. Tell me I'm wrong. Chat with me on this. I know I'm right about this.
No, I mean, onomatopoeia is a word like, does thrash make a noise? Like
thrash.
He
was thrashing in the weeds. Thrashing.
The typical example is these sounds that animals make, like a bee goes buzz, or a horse says neigh, or.
Not all horses say neigh. Some will agree. Some are more agreeable than that.
You can lead a horse to water, but he's often going to say neigh.
But you can make him drink. You know what you do? You get up on his head,
give him a bunch of salt,
jump up and down, and then that horse will go in that, and he'll drink that water. It's a proven fact. I saw a Western the other day. Check this movie. The minister, the Western town minister, is played by Donald Sutherland. Just absolutely in his fantastic all-black garb and his Western tie and his full gray beard and his full, long, wavy gray hair and his perfectly suited preacher's black felt hat. And who should return?
He looks a little bit like you.
Who should return, not currently, who should return to the homestead when he's in his late 70s, early 80s? But his son, who went away to war, and when he went away to war, after the war, he didn't come back. Instead, he kept killing as a hired gun. And he came back, and his mother had died, and it was played by Kiefer Sutherland.
Indeed. This movie is called Forsaken. We'll put a link in the show notes at happyhour.fm/068, it seems we're up to. So
the most wonderfully underplayed Kiefer Sutherland I've ever seen. I've never seen him in more of a controlled yet emotional performance as this. My benchmark for him is of course the Jack Nicklaus Tom Cruise movie where he played the corporal, perhaps it was lieutenant who did Jack.
The You Can't Handle the Truth movie.
Yeah.
All Good Men or something.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
No.
Hold on. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
A Few Good Men.
A Few Good Men. There we go. Well, this Forsaken movie was well after his performance in 24 as Jack Bauer.
Oh yeah. So. Absolutely. A remarkable career, like the perfect age for a role with his dad. And in some of the emotional moments when his dad, and they fight and they argue about the war and the killing and this and that and the other, it's quite a remarkable. And in the moment that when the preacher is preaching in his wooden church and in the back door walks his son
And as he sees his son hat in hand sit down on a bench, and Donald Sutherland's tears of joy are so fucking remarkable. And Kiefer Sutherland's absolute head down, bowing, understated, perfectly attuned
apology or
look of being there, of just being there
deference
in that moment.
Just
of immersion,
right?
Of absolute immersion, of I'm here, I'm feeling it, and it's amazing. And I went from there to Cold Mountain, which also had Donald Sutherland playing as a preacher in the same clothes, by the way, the same clothes.
Well, the 19th century preacher clothes were all pretty similar. Yeah. So yeah. Donald is 84 years old. His children have the most weird names: Kiefer, Rossif, and Angus. Just
Angus. Holy
Angus
shit!
Sutherland.
Isn't that a character? Celtic? That a Celtic name? Find the root in all the history of the name Angus. I bet you it's Celtic. Angus, you toss that stone much further than I said.
Well, it is a traditional county of Scotland. So, yeah. Angus given name. Here we go. Angus is a masculine given name in English. It's often anglicized form. It is an anglicized form of the Scottish Gaelic and Irish Angus, which is composed of Celtic elements meaning one and choice. Points for Dennis. Well done. You win.
Angus, you have thrown that stone and I've thrown an annual son before. Come on, they have a little contest.
What? Then you got your Angus beef.
Throw the stone.
Throw the stone.
You saw Braveheart, and the character, his name was Angus.
Okay.
And Mel Gibson's character shows up back in Scotland at a party. He's been gone for 10 years, 12 years. And his boyhood friend, Angus, sees him and ends up knocking him out and punching him down on the ground. And they end up in a stone throwing contest. You know this?
It sounds like it could have happened in that movie, yes. I don't recall that exact scene.
What do you mean could have? It's like
that sounds like a masculine.
So you hear this and you're not sure it's true. You're like, well,
look, I trust you that it's true. I trust you that it's true. But if you're asking me to confirm that it's true, I cannot.
Oh, okay. Well, the way that you said it,
it seems plausible.
My mind.
Plausible stone throwing.
Let's throw the rock. Let's throw that stone. We'll throw it just as far as you can.
It's like you with your quarters.
And then the real, you'll remember this. So the contest was, how about if I stand still?
Can you hit me in the head with a stone? Right.
Try to kill me with that rock.
I remember that. Yes.
And he missed. And then Mel Gibson's Braveheart character, you'll remind me of the name,
William Wallace,
has a stone, yes, about the size of a $50, and hits him square in the fucking middle of his forehead and knocks him out.
I remember that. I'm upgrading the likelihood that is true to 99% now. That seems very familiar to me.
Yeah, there's a difference. That's not what you mean. You mean 99% that you think that you might remember it, not 90% that it's plausible. Because that means there's a 1% that what I'm telling you isn't true. There's a difference between whether or not you think it's true and whether or not you remember it.
It's aligning with my memory.
It's 99% in alignment with your memory. That makes sense.
I believe that it's true, but I'm not certain. Does that make sense?
Well, that's true.
Memory is a leaky sieve.
Memory is a leaky sieve. It reminds me what I've got to give. And if I don't know what I've been told, give me a brewski.
Oh, yeah. Last episode, we forgot to do our segment of Would Dennis Rather. I thought we could try that again. We need a theme song, but yeah, we'll work on that. Got to workshop the theme song. Dun 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 dun. Okay, Dennis, are you ready?
Yes.
Hands on your buzzers. This one's dumb. Would you rather be average at everything, or be really good at one thing and below average at everything else?
The latter.
Be really good at one thing? I have to agree. Wow.
Let's guess. 64% agree.
Nope, almost the exact opposite. 35%. Everyone else would rather be average at everything.
Fucking average.
They're so worried about their failings that they'd rather, come up to equal. Like, I don't know. The truth is that you can only be good at a couple things and you suck at everything else. But I guess average is, I don't know. It's that thing like where 90% of people think that they're above average. Like, okay, whatever.
Well, it could be that they think that the latter is already true.
Right.
That they're already.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the fallacy that people are making, I think. Okay. Would you rather have world peace or have $1 billion?
World peace. Come on.
Yeah, duh. That's stupid. God, only 48%? You fucking capitalist pigs. Anyway, Jesus.
Because they're fucking animals out there.
I know, man.
Well, we'll celebrate 48%, though.
Who's using this app? Yeah, exactly. All right. Would you rather have eyes with automatic video recording or ears with automatic audio recording? Would you rather be able to... Eyes? I think I got to go with eyes, too. You can't... So, are you familiar with the TV show Black Mirror? Have you heard of this?
No.
Oh, my God.
No.
It's by this British satirist, I guess. Like, he had sort of a comedy news show, not unlike The Daily Show, where he did sort of comedy news. But like, he's always been really interested in culture and especially around technology. And there's this TV show called Black Mirror. There's a couple dozen episodes. There might be 16 episodes. They're each an hour long, and they're each individual little movies. And they go about, it's sort of my favorite sort of science fiction, where they take a thing that is like super cutting edge high tech right now, and they imagine, what if it went a little bit further? That's a thing that Michael Crichton always did in his novels.
Yeah, right.
With Jurassic Park.
Yes,
what if we could actually make the dinosaurs?
Yes, right.
And so he does this, but with different sort of tech things. Like, one of them is, what if after your loved one died, there was a service that you could pay that would examine all of their text messages that they've ever written, every social media post, everything that they've ever written, email and everything, and then have sort of an AI bot sort of talk to you like they would, and make the same sort of jokes and stuff, and just how fucked up that world, the whole concept of that world would be, where if you were super deep in mourning, like, you might want to sort of talk to a mock-up of the person that you're missing, but how that, and then like almost all of them end in the inevitable dark consequences. Like, the whole name of the show is Black Mirror.
Right.
Mirror, talking about like the screens that we have in front of us and the darkness of the reflection of us and our humanity. And it is really good.
Send me some shit on this.
I will. That's and anyway, there's one of the episodes, it takes place in some future time where everyone has a chip in their brains that you can go back and replay parts of your life. So whenever you're having an argument with your spouse about, you never told me to take out the trash, they can go and rewind to that time and sort of play it back for you and see how I told you to take out the trash.
So here's something you don't know about me, and it's sort of like good news and bad news. The good news is I have a chip embedded in my forehead, my temple, and the bad news is it's a potato chip. And so it doesn't do anything for me except make me feel salty and a little.
It's working then. Yeah.
A little salty.
But anyway, so this question of being able to play back anything sparks that memory of that thing. And so, as you might imagine, it's not a better world where everyone can play back everything that you ever said to them. Like, we don't want that. Right. Like, part of the most important part of memory is the ability to forget things sometimes.
There's a lot of things that I wish I could see again.
Yes, of course.
Compared to a lot of things I wish I could hear again.
There you go. All right, so...
and even with the things that I'd want to hear, whatever I would hear them from, I might as well just see it instead.
So, survey says 70% is with the video recording. So, humans are visual creatures, he says, on an audio medium. So, hold on, I ran into an ad because I'm not paying for this crap. Okay. God, these are dumb. Would you rather have your blood sucked by a vampire or your brain eaten by a zombie? It's like would you rather have your head cut off from your body or your body cut off from your head?
Zombie, because then I'd actually die and wouldn't become a vampire.
Well, and then you'd be reanimated as a zombie. Hello.
Oh, is that true? Oh, wait. Let me rethink that. I'd rather be a vampire than a zombie. So
me too. Yes.
There you
go. 86% agree with us.
I don't think the zombies have a lot of action.
No.
I don't think there's any enjoyable moments.
But they just get up and go to their day job and then come home and then they go to bed, just like the rest of us.
Just go home and eat brains all day and then come home exhausted.
Would you? Okay, let's have this be the last one because these are boring me. Would you rather all the money you obtain gets doubled, or access the internet in your brain? What? Access
the internet in my brain.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Obviously, because then you could make more money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, duh.
That's stupid.
Only 44%. These people that use this app are like all about like, I want more money.
Oh God.
Anyway, losers.
Because they don't want to have to work to get more money than double.
Right. Exactly. Well, you know what? I mean,
double with no work, or more than double with some work, and they say, "Nah, I don't want to work."
Exactly.
The people who take this survey, fucking lazy fucks.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't want more money, but I mean, you know, people listening could go to patreon.com/happyhour and give us a little more of that. We wouldn't hate that, but you know,
we need some sponsors.
We'd rather have internet brain.
So did you see that our latest stats showed that we were actually at one point in the United States, we're currently at 768 of God only knows what in the U.S., but our best position in the U.S. was 428.
Sweet.
Which I don't understand the data very well. I don't know much of what it means.
Yeah, very little, I think is what it means.
Well, it means something. It's not made up, is it? Is it just fabricated? Is it just people?
I mean, I think it's a value derived somehow, but
a meaningless value.
Yeah, I mean, if we had 40,000 listeners, then we could actually sell an ad. But until we get up into the top. God, no. See, that's dumb because the 400th most popular podcast in America has a bunch of listeners because podcasting is so popular.
No, I don't think that's what it's a measure of. I think I don't know what it is.
Exactly.
That's why it's useless data.
Yeah, it might be of people using that analytics service, which is going to be a small fraction anyway. Who knows? I went to the beach the other weekend. That was nice.
Son of a beach. Tell me about it.
Well, so we live right next to the beach. And
next? What do you mean next to?
For us to drive to the beach takes 8 minutes. Yeah. So next to. You can walk there too, but driving is a little bit quicker. And but like my enjoyment of the beach, I like long walks on the beach. And then playing in the waves, but I don't like lying on the towel and getting all sandy and crap. So like my perfect day at the beach is to go there and walk a couple miles on the beach,
swim,
and then play in the waves and swim a little bit, and
maybe rest on the towel a bit in the heat, but not sit there and read or lay in the sun or
because first of all it's uncomfortable to put on all that sunscreen because it all sort of makes you all sticky and stuff, and then when you come out of the salt water, you're also kind of icky.
Yeah.
And so and then as soon as I come out of the water, like the next thing I want to do is be in my shower at home. You know. So
plus you keep in the water.
Right. Exactly. And I spend a good long time in the water.
When you're wet, and then go back out in the water. You roll in the hot sand to get warm. Did you ever do that? No. Like a fucking reptile. Come out of the water, you're a little chilly, you go in the hot sand, you roll in your stomach, you get covered with sand.
Like you're a chicken nugget.
Spit it out in your eyes, get up, and then the little kids say, oh God, it's a monster. It's a sand monster. Whatever. You just go back out into the water, and then there's a sand, when you splash in the water, the sand creates a halo of dirty, sandy water around you. Mm-hmm. And it reminds me of TV dinner by the pool. What's your brother gonna be? Got another year of school. That's okay. He's too weird. He's a bummer. Every summer, he's a plumber. Ciao, baby. Gotta go, man.
That reference went so far over my head, I don't even know.
When you edit next episode, it's
I'll
the
look it
same
up.
one.
Ciao, man. Love you.
See you next week, my friend.
See you next week.
Mi amigo. Hasta la semana que viene. All right, that's it for episode number 68. Thank everyone for listening. You can find the show notes where we have links to all the things that we discussed at happyhour.fm/068. And if you'd like to help us make this program, you can go to patreon.com/happyhour. That would really help us out a lot and help keep this show on the air, internet, whatever. See you next week.